Hi, everybody. Hi, Chrissy. Hi, Shirley. Hey, Cheeky. No, we're live now. We're live now. I haven't read this yet, so I figured why not go live and read it? So that's what I'm doing. Hey, everybody. Yay, we're notified. So like I said, I have not read this article that was put out by Mindy yet. I started to read it. I read like 2 paragraphs and I said, you know what? I'll go live and read it. Because the more it's out there, obviously, the better. So anybody wants to join, I'll put the link in the chat. All right, well then let's get to it. Hey, Lee. Here it is. Shit, hold on. All right. Oops, I guess I got a screen share. That might help, eh? And then if Courtney goes live on Twitter, if anybody can pay attention to that, I'll restream her. Well, let's take a read at it. No, you're in the right chat, Shirley. The main chat is over here. I didn't broadcast this to Kim and Stacy's channel. I just did Bobby's old channel because Stacy and Kim aren't around, so I didn't know if they wanted it on their channel. I'm sure we'll do a discussion about it. Hey, Lori. All right, well, let's read this article. Corey Feldman is a sexual predator. Former Angel speaks out. Published June 16, 2020. I'm going to have to blow this up for my own eyesight. Okay. There was a point in time where I would say that I was good friends with Corey Feldman, but that relationship quickly fell apart due to moral reasons and his own weird brand of selfish Hollywood douchebaggery. He demanded I had to wear white if we hung out and did an event which was weird, but whatever. Then he started demanding that I couldn't eat meat in front of him. He had actually invited me to dinner, but then refused to allow me to order anything with meat because he was vegan. Hold on, guys. I thought I had my headphones plugged in. Let me make sure it didn't mute me now, because sometimes it does that. Okay, it did not. Because he was vegan and found it offensive, which was the last time I agreed to ever take him up on dinner. I was always an outsider to Hollywood, which probably saved me in the end. I was in my 30s and working nonstop in independent films and reality TV at the time. I didn't need Corey Feldman to help me, and he always resented that. Years later, and now a political commentator, I cover a lot of topics: biased media, censorship, election fraud, and I also expose pedophiles and predators online, which between that and my past history with him is how I imagine is how I ended up devolving into this story about Corey Feldman that was sent to my inbox in the first place. The accusations against Feldman are beyond horrendous. Emotional abuse, controlling what the women around him wore and ate. Gee, that sounds familiar. Physical assault, nonstop sexual harassment, plying, playing, plying women with drugs and alcohol to render them either willing or unconscious enough to have sex with him, non-consensual sodomy, and rape by use of force on a woman while she cried about it. The saddest part is that all these testimonies from former bandmates and friends is that it fits in exactly with things I heard and seen him do before. Whoa, there's no sound? Can you guys hear me? Maybe you need to turn up your sound, Shannon. Three progressively worse things happened that forced me to end my friendship with Corey Feldman. First, after inviting me to his birthday party, I was told by the doorman that I had to pay to get in or take my clothes off. I called Corey pissed off, and he stated he would only let me in if I agreed to walk around in a bra and thong for his friends. Jesus. After an argument in which I obviously won, I managed to get into the party without doing either, but I was clearly ostracized, from him and his harem for not playing along that night, and that was fine by me. The party ended up being so unbelievably bad that Vice did an article making fun of it. I had I have never been happier that I left 15 minutes into the party in my life. The second time, I had to console a young woman who he had pled with so much drugs and alcohol that she had gotten ill. Jesus Christ. I held her hair while she cried and threw up, while Corey stomped around angry because she wouldn't have sex with him, and Lord knows I wasn't. So he just kept getting madder and madder, demanding that she go into a bedroom to have sex with him. I yelled at him to back off and stayed with her until she felt better and finally went to sleep. She seemed uninfatuated by it when I talked to her the next day, probably too out of it to remember. It didn't sound like the first time that this had happened either. This brought up another discussion because he had also given her a bladder infection, which was also making her miserable. Jesus Christ. About the third and final thing I found out he was doing, Corey Feldman was having unprotected sex with all these young girls and convincing them it was safe. This is disgusting. Hi, everybody. Hi, Gary. Corey liked using his celebrity status to reel in young, usually out of town, naive girls, but it turns out he also convinced them that a makeup sponge dipped in a questionable spermicide he bought from China would protect them from every disease in the world, including AIDS. I said something to the likes of, forgive my French, what the fuck are you talking about? He claimed that Charlie Sheen showed him this method and that it was 100% fail safe. Oh my God, this is bad. This is about where I went ballistic and even went on Google to prove that whatever he's talking about doesn't exist, and it didn't, and that he's probably giving all these young innocent girls horrendous, incurable STDs. This led to a fight where Corey and his girlfriend went to get tested just to show me the results, and thankfully for all those women he slept with, it was still negative. I said, I'm glad you're healthy, but you're just lucky and this needs to stop. He didn't care. It was keeping his idol Charlie Sheen safe, which, as you can tell, this happened all before Sheen himself revealed that he had contracted HIV and was hiding it. So much for fail-proof method. That's my Corey Feldman story, which I always thought was bad enough. There are still happy pictures of us out there from a few events or projects I did, which is how the story got back to me. I wanted to use my platform to give these women a voice. They have had been they have been denied by a hypocritical, soulless industry that only cares about pretending to help women and victims of their abuse. Do not falter attack these women for their testimonies. Corey Feldman is a manipulative, emotional bully and takes advantage of everyone he knows. I very well believe that he himself was a victim of sexual abuse, but that does not give him the right to sexually violate women, all the while pretending to fight Hollywood predators. Make no mistake, Corey Feldman is a sexual predator of the worst kind, take into consideration the accounts of women that worked directly with him and no one else. Hold on. Hold on. Fucking unreal. Sorry. Mara Moon, musician and former bandmate. It has taken me a little bit to collect my thoughts and to find the right words and spirit to sit down and pen write this letter. I wanted to make sure that I came from the right place with what I'm about to say. The easiest thing for me to do right now is walk away from everything I am seeing and try to maintain what is, at best, an unconscionable non-disclosure agreement crafted only to benefit one party's, I don't know that word, O'Hara's, something business practices and public image. In fact, what I have is a non-signed, non-legally bonding agreement. It would be easy to walk away and let others figure things out the hard way like I had to do. I can't do that, however. I am not afraid to let the public know both that what I witnessed and what I was made to endure. I try my best to live my life with integrity and feel if this information is public record, it may spare other performers. I just want to help other victims. Playing an instrument is hard enough without added sexual exploitation and having your dreams preyed upon by a predator like this. Well, you guys, Open Secret just tweeted about this article. Isn't that interesting? I am a musician. I am a singer and a songwriter. Those are my strengths. I also play guitar, and when I was hired to perform in Corey's band, I looked forward to the opportunity to work with other musicians and grow both my knowledge and skill. I never saw this as an opportunity to make it big or even get recognized. I truly admired the fellow musicians I worked with. The benefit to me in a professional sense was I would be able to work with and experience other artists. Growth. I am not what you would consider by Corey's description of an angel as a lost soul in need of saving from myself. I am very self-aware and I am very balanced and a grounded person. I'm pretty strong and came from a pretty streetwise background, and Corey Feldman is still able to get in my head and manipulate me into sitting through orgies. His behavior with me was mild compared to other women, yet it was still disgusting, traumatic, triggering, abusive, and psychologically warped. I am going to cut through the chase. I did not leave the tour because I was in fear of my life from outside people. My safety and health were jeopardized by my employer, Corey Feldman, particularly every day I was on tour. I was not comfortable with what I was being asked to be a party to, and it did not sit well with me. From the onset, Corey had expressed to everyone on tour that he was going to start a campaign in order to generate some funds. This was not a spur of the moment afterthought when the tour fell apart. He had his mind made up, I'm assuming, from about October 14th in Reno, Nevada. To be honest, I did not have a full understanding of what he was doing, but in my gut, it did not sit well. It felt dishonest, and I didn't like being asked to be part of it. At the time, I expressed my concerns that logically, reasonably, that if he felt he needed additional security because that was his reason for needing to start his fundraising campaign, then what kind of danger did that present for myself? I was met with indifference because it was stated to me by Corey that you're not in danger. You aren't a household name. The verbal abuse and condescensions was ongoing. On one occasion, I had lost pieces to my Larita costume, angel costume, I guess, and was forced through being yelled at to find pieces in a lost and found of undergarments. I was yelled at to just wear them and had them thrown at me when clearly they were soiled with either menstrual or fecal matter. My safety, both physically and mentally, were constantly under assault. I was met with that tone as though I was collateral damage or that I should be grateful for this opportunity whenever I brought any concerns about circumstances or conditions during the tour. I felt like I had my hopes and dreams held over my head. Hold on, I'm reading the I know that I probably should have left much sooner than I did. I feel that once it became apparent to both Corey and Courtney that I didn't co-sign their lifestyle and was not going to come across in a manner they wished, my days were officially numbered regardless. I felt as though I was reminded regularly that this was my dream and it could all vanish if I did not at least turn a blind eye. The subtle continual emotional, verbal, and physical abuse had begun to take a toll, and I literally felt alone and ostracized. Sorry. The contract I signed guaranteed for food, suitable accommodations, a safe and drug-free environment, and payment. To date, none of those collateral obligations have been met. I was subjected to accommodations contrary to the contract. I was made to share a bed with two other adult women while the motel room was comped by the venue. I was guaranteed food, but it was rationed to the point I received 1/4 of a veggie burger, while others that are not vegans ate full portions. I was told to get the fuck up and put the groceries away by Corey. They were not my groceries, they were Courtney's and Darcy's groceries. They were picked for themselves and paid out of the tour food budget, a privilege I did not receive. I wasn't even allowed to eat any of them. There were a lot of tears shed before I had even decided to leave the tour. Hold on, guys. Uh, the tour was a very unstable and unsettling experience. I was subjected to domestic altercations between Corey, Courtney, and Darcy, their girlfriend. They were violent in the sense that there was loud yelling, arguing, door slamming, and it was all fueled by drugs. Yes, there were drugs. I have a hard time reconciling Corey pulling forth a drug-free image when in fact they were arrested for drugs being in the RV we were traveling in. Again, by contract, I was guaranteed a drug-free environment. I have a reasonable expectation of such. Corey tried to silence me with an NDA, knowing full well he was not honest about his lifestyle to me up front. This is so low considering how many concessions on my life and safety he asked me to make without notice. I had to rent a car because the driver that was hired was driving erratically and I had gotten hurt. The sleeping arrangements in the RV were less than ideal for a group of adults. With all the trauma and chaos, I eventually couldn't drive and had to have a friend fly into Texas to drive me back to LA to get my belongings and then back home to Ohio. I can't just walk away and turn a blind eye to what I saw and what I still see happening today. I can't be silent about what I was asked to be an accomplice to and leave other potential contractors in the dark. I have been left traumatized mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and yes, even financially, as I was never paid by Corey. In order to protect myself from the gross mismanagement, I had to walk away. In order to protect others, I had to share my experience. Yeah. I also lived in the house for months before the tour and was strongly manipulated to never leave the house for anything. I particularly tormented I perpetually tormented by images of Corey Feldman having an orgy while worrying about getting kicked out of the house or fired from my job. I remember trying to go to my room and wasn't allowed to, and trying to retreat and being bullied into staying in the room. When I finally left Corey's when I finally left, Corey's manager, Phil Shapiro, didn't want me to talk to the media. They didn't want me talking about living in the house, about sexual harassment, and their attempts to coerce me into sexual behaviors I wasn't comfortable with. Phil tried to pay me off for 1,000, no joke, to not associate with the wolf pack. I told him he would pay me my paycheck and nothing else, and I got the hell out of there. Jackie's. Hold on, this is probably going to be long, huh? Oh, yeah. Dang. All right, we'll get through it, I guess. But seriously, if somebody's watching Courtney, please let me know if she goes live. Oh no, this is an article that was published today that I'm reading, Lauren. I'm still waiting for Courtney to go live. My name is Jackie, and I was hired as a musician by Corey Feldman spring and summer tours in 2017. And the 7 months that I worked for him, I also lived with him in his home along with his wife Courtney and 2 other women who worked for and or dated him. He and his wife have a I don't know how to say that word, whatever, relationship and often participated in group sex parties. I was never romantically or sexually involved with him, and I was told that my choice not to participate would be respected and would not affect whether or not I was hired for tour. On the first nights after I moved in, he was running a bubble bath, and when the tub was full, he said, "Okay, let's get in," without ever asking if I was even interested. I politely refused and excused myself. A couple of days later, his wife and another girl asked if I wanted to take a bath with them. Corey said if I wasn't comfortable with him joining that he would go do something else. I agreed to take a bath with the girls, and he left so we could do so. Shortly after, he came back in, got undressed, and got in the bath anyways. I felt confused and thought maybe I hadn't communicated well enough. They were really high and having a lot of fun, and I didn't protest. He just sat down next to me, and he and his wife started kissing directly over me because she was on my other side. I left soon after and went to my room. Less than a week later, we all went, thank you, Kosa. We all went to a nightclub together for his wife's birthday. He kissed her, kissed one of his girlfriends, and then leaned in to kiss me. I turned my head so he could give me a kiss on the cheek, and he forcibly grabbed my face and put his mouth on mine, despite me physically resisting him. I was shocked but said nothing. I heard him refer to me as his girlfriend a few times throughout the night. He kept getting mad at his wife when she introduced me to people as their bandmate. There were various times at his home and on tour where he grabbed at my butt and breast. I was not vocal when this happened. I would usually just remove myself from the situation. I had clearly communicated several times that I was not interested in anything sexual, so I assumed that he just didn't care. This is literally making my stomach hurt. I should have been more assertive, but I was afraid of getting fired and kicked out. I was completely broke at the time because he told me I was not allowed to work besides for him, and he wasn't paying for anything during the time we were rehearsing and getting ready for tour. There was a lot of drug use going on, mainly MDMA, ketamine, and prescription pills like Oxycontin and Adderall that they would crush up and snort. I initially refused to do these drugs because I had previously had a bad experience when I tried MDMA in the past. He continuously pressured me to try it again, saying that his drugs were very pure and would not make me sick. I eventually gave in and used both MDMA and ketamine with him. The first time I did MDMA with them, we were at a concert in Oakland. I thought we would be returning to Los Angeles that night, but instead Corey purchased a hotel room for us, which turned out to only have one bed. This made me uncomfortable because I had never slept in the same bed as them before, and I had my own room at his house. We all sat on the bed hanging out, talking and listening to music for a while. Eventually, things started to get sexual. He tried to kiss me and became annoyed when I refused. He didn't pressure me any further, but he did have sex with the other girls in front of me. Damn. A similar situation happened on tour in New York City. I tried to go back to the tour bus with the other girls after our show, but he yelled at me and said I had to go with him because it was his birthday. We had a party at his hotel suite. Some of the girls left, and then Corey had sex with the ones who stayed, besides myself and one girl who was there with her boyfriend, who only had sex with him while we watched. Eventually, that couple left too. One of the other girls had told Corey earlier in the day that she was going to have anal sex with him as a gift for his birthday. She had never done it before, and when he told her he wanted to do it, she said no because she was scared and she had changed her mind. His wife Courtney started screaming at the girl, saying that she had to do it because she already said she would. Corey yelled at her too. The girl started crying and kept saying no, but Corey didn't care and he forced himself on her. His wife was touching me and kept saying, "Isn't that so hot?" while he raped her. I had done so much MDMA and ketamine that I was physically ill. I felt freezing cold and I couldn't move or speak. This is disgusting. Later in the night, when Corey and Courtney were sleeping, I talked to the girl and she was crying and telling me a story about someone else who had raped her when she was younger. She didn't acknowledge what had just happened and kept saying how grateful she was for Corey and how he was the only person that ever really loved her. I felt extremely confused, and the next day, everyone acted as if everything was perfectly fine. It's literally making me sick. When we returned to LA after tour, I did ketamine and MDMA with them for the third time, and when they were having a small party with another couple. Again, he gave me way too much, and I got very sick, and again, I watched them all have sex. One of the other girls got very sick as well from doing too much, and when she said she wasn't feeling well, Corey told her she just needed to do more. His wife agreed, and then you're a piece of shit too, Courtney. And then persuade her into doing another line, which of course made her feel worse. She kept saying how sick she felt and trying to redirect the night to anything other than sex, asking if we could give each other massages instead or go into the hot tub. Corey said no, that she needed to just do more drugs because they were going to have sex with her all night. He and his wife didn't seem to care that she didn't want to. She never said the word no, but she seemed extremely ill and unhappy and was too intoxicated to consent, in my opinion. My contract ended a few days later, and Corey and Courtney left for a vacation in Hawaii. I moved out while they were gone, afraid that if I stayed any longer, I was going to become addicted to drugs and end up getting raped. After I took some time to process everything that happened, I decided to report these incidents to the police. I was unable to file an official report about what happened to the other women because I was not the victim in those cases. I was told I could only file a report about him touching me and forcing me to kiss him, so I did. I filed a police report against Corey Feldman for sexual assault and battery, which resulted in a criminal investigation where I was able to speak to the detective about everything that had happened to the other woman as well. The only witness who reported seeing Corey Feldman sexually assault me did not report a specific location because they couldn't remember which of the 40 plus cities we were in when they saw him assault me. His testimony was not admissible in LA jurisdiction, and the DA ultimately could not press charges. Oh my God, you guys, this is so long. All right. I'm not sure how long I've been live. Do you want to come on? Because that would be great. But I don't know how you're gonna read the letter. My stomach is literally upset. My name is Paulina, and I have no incentive to write this statement, but I wish to protect women and children from a repeat sexual predator. When I was introduced to Corey Feldman, I was living in a garage in Van Nuys, California, and the homeowner's pet roosters. The homeowner was in the garage watching her poor friend Corey and showed me the video that he had gone viral on the Today Show September 2016. I had similar circumstances as most people, that the vocals and costumes were terrible. I was working as a costume designer, and the lady I lived with texted him saying I could make better costumes. Hold on. Next thing I knew, I was at Corey's house in Encino, and we sat and talked for around 3 hours. He talked to me about being abused as a kid and how he wanted to create a safe working environment for women. He told me he was invited back on the Today Show and it was a big comeback, and he begged me to help with his dream. He said he didn't have any money to pay me, but he would pay for supplies, and that he had other opportunities coming up. If I did this for him, he would make it worth my while. He said he would promote me in his documentary about the band and tours and would hire me to do more work. He also went on about how horrible the media is and how they make up lies about him for buzz. He talked about Crystal Kalai and how she got paid a bunch of money to distort the truth and talk bad about him, and how Wife Swap edited the show to make him look horrible and everything was out of content. He seemed so nice and he seemed like he wanted to be my friend. He seemed really open and vulnerable and sweet. Ugh. All right, guys, hold on. I'm going to take a break for a second. All right, I'm going to try to get through this, but I'm literally feeling sick. I decided against watching any news online about him. I wanted to give him the benefit of doubt, and I just wanted to judge him like he was any other person. LA is tough as a struggling artist, and I thought it sounded wonderful to work with a bunch of women in a safe environment. Corey Feldman said he was trying to be the voice in Hollywood for women and children against sexual violence. I was also a victim of sexual abuse. Sorry, hold on. Of sexual abuse as a child and had this in common with Corey, so I agreed to join the team. I still have an unpaid invoice for the costumes I made for the Today Show performance. I mostly spent my time, and I only spent $157 on supplies. I mostly made the costume out of reused cardstock and floor sweepings of crystals from one of the design shops I worked for. Immediately when I started working there, were cameras in my face, filming me working and fitting the angels. After the performance, he tweeted a thank you to me for my work. Here you can see the light up crystallized halos and handmade wigs the angels wore to replace the Party City wigs and halos. I was asked to remake the wings for the spring tour, as the wings on the Today Show were fragile and made out of paper. Again, he promised that the following tour he would have a budget and put me on payroll, and he would make it worth my whole with make it worth my whole and promote me. I told him this was ridiculous because I am not an aspiring costume designer. Design work is what I did as my money job, and music was what I was passionate about. Corey begged and pleaded with me to eat and even agreed that he would pay for supplies and I could open for him on a summer tour. I remade all the halos and wings with better material, and I worked on a few costume pieces for Corey as well. He gave me $20 once, but again, never paid the invoices I sent for costs and supplies. I worked about 100 hours altogether making the costumes. By the time it got to the summer tour, I didn't even want to go. I felt like I was being taken advantage of. The first issue was I wasn't added to the tour, and I was told I had to call all the venues to book myself as the opening act. On top of that, his team refused to give me any contact info for any of the bookers of the venues. I was only able to book myself on 4 shows, and every media outlet who wanted to do a write up about me as the opening act and costume designer had to get approval from Corey and his team, which never happened. So even though he promised to promote me in exchange for my work, every attempt was shut down. It was really frustrating, and at this point, I felt like I needed to go to make sure these girls were safe, as they were all much younger than me, and Corey seemed to be a really good manipulator. And can you believe that women support this man when so many girls have the same fucking story? I signed a crappy contract for $500 a week, all food and hotels included. Although the angels in their contract were never allowed to leave the group, I got my contract amended to include that I was a devout Catholic and I was allowed to leave to attend Mass whenever it was possible with the driving schedule. Once the summer tour started, Corey was angry that the venues booked niche acts a lot, of which included devil-themed performances. The venues tried to make it about angels and devils, and Corey was upset because he wanted to be considered a real musical act. After the first couple shows I opened for him, he demanded I perform every night to set the stage for the audience to see the show as a real show. Many of the venues were taken off guard as they thought I was the tour manager and weren't given any notice I was performing. Many of the audience greeted me with boos and "Where is Corey?" Every night I had to win over an angry crowd. I was performing my own set, singing backup during his set backstage, dressing him, repairing costumes, cleaning costumes, doing laundry, as well as many other daily tasks. The tour manager was only 19 and had never been on tour, so as the most experienced musician on the road, I picked up so much slack that I was working around 18 hours a day. On top of all that, I wasn't allowed to eat anything, and surprise, surprise, we weren't paid our first check for almost 2 weeks. The other girls weren't being fed either, so every night I collected whatever food I could find in the green room and cool it on the bus into whatever meals I could manage. When the venues would accidentally put meat in the green room, which wasn't allowed, I would hide it for the girls to eat later. I wasn't eating nearly enough, and I was literally starving and got sick. I had to go to the ER. Oh, they already are, Joe. Corey didn't want me to go to the ER and insisted I had an STD. And he kept trying to give me medication out of his giant pharmacy bag. I told him over and over I was celibate and I didn't have an STD. Corey told me that it was impossible for me to be celibate. Finally, I made it to the ER and got medication for a stomach issue. I called a friend and said I was starving, and he sent me $200. I went to the store and got food and medicinal supplements. When I returned to the bus, I was told I wasn't allowed to bring my food on the bus because there wasn't room. This is insane. Hold on, I gotta approve a comment. Despite this insanity, I said, well, I'll sleep with it, but I'm not going without basic essentials. I spent the remainder of the tour sleeping in a bunk with my groceries. I tried to complain to Corey's manager, and he said some disgusting things to me, which I would definitely consider sexual harassment. Yeah, he's a piece of shit, too. So then I tried to complain to Corey, who promised a safe working environment, and he said his manager sexually assaulted his wife by grabbing her once, and he sexually harasses all the girls. He pretended to be symptomatic. I asked, why would you work with someone like that? And he said he had no choice. He had to do it because he put so much money into his film and he was forced to just deal with it. Overall, the tour was a nightmare, but then we got home. First, we didn't get paid for last week of wages. Then one of the angels, Jackie, said she hated him and was sick to her stomach and couldn't stand to be in his house one more second and asked if I would help her move out. I said, sure, no problem, and went to Corey's house while he and Courtney were in Hawaii. I took Jackie to my house and she had no money and nowhere to go. When Corey returned from his trip, he sent me a series of psychotic text messages calling me a homewrecker and a Satanist. I couldn't figure out what the heck he was talking about. Finally, Jackie opened up to me about what she witnessed and went through on that tour that I didn't see. I immediately took her to the police station to make a police report. Ugh. Corey immediately replaced us with other young women for a fall tour, which turned into a nightmare for those girls without me. They told me it was 10 times worse without me there to hold it all together. He used my costumes again for his tour without payment or permission. Corey began bad talking us to his fans, calling us leechers, and only referred to me as Jackie's girlfriend, not costume designer or anything else, but some angry lesbian girlfriend sidekick to Jackie. We got death threats from his fans, and there was a blue van parked outside my house for over a month. We even had someone take photographs of us that were given to Corey, which he showed his fans to somehow prove we were Satanists. We tried to expose him as he made himself a hero for sexual abuse survivors during the Me Too campaign, but no one would help us. Celebrity Insider released an article when we filed the police report, but it was taken down. Yeah, you piece of shit, Charisse. We got burned out and gave up and tried to move on. We had to watch as people donated money to the scam artist. Thankfully, people heard our story and continued without us trying to expose Corey for being a liar, manipulator, and sexual predator. Then Corey began referring to anyone who opposed him as the wolf pack and claimed we were trying to stop his work of God. Then Corey's horrible movie came out and the wolf pack came together to do whatever we could to expose him and convince people not to give him their money. Because of this, more victims began contacting us, telling us stories about being raped, drugged, manipulated, and sexually bullied by Corey Feldman. Apparently, we made Corey pretty angry by giving his victims a voice, and he began trashing us online to his fans, saying we are pedophile protectors working for an elite organization, and that I was hired as a spy to destroy his organization from the inside. My response to that is, well, now I won't shut up until all his victims come forward and he gets investigated for fraud. I feel a sense of responsibility because his show was crap and I made it good enough for his fans to enjoy, or it would have fallen apart much sooner. I sang backstage to beef up the chorus vocals and remade all the costumes, which band members said they wouldn't have gone on that tour if it weren't for my costumes. Everything I did made his show look legitimate, and I feel terrible for that. My talents were used to make this man look good, and I deeply regret that. I don't regret, however, going on that tour to protect the young girls to the best that I could. Corey Feldman needs to be in jail. He is a dangerous psychopath who needs to be held accountable. Amen to that. Additionally, I forgot two things. I wasn't given hotel rooms as per my contract and stayed in the bus during the whole tour, and after not showering for over a week, Corey invited me to stay in his room, which I said, hell no. There was one night he asked me to collect women for him at a show, to which I also said no. I don't think anyone's really chatting, Joe. I don't even know how many people we have. Oh, God, we have 75 people. Damn. Margaret Lane, music director and bandmate. You can listen to her entire testimony here. She claims to have seen and experienced Corey Feldman slipping women unsuspecting drugs, as well as similar testimony of emotional abuse, sexual harassment, and lack of payment for work rendered. My name is Margot. I was a music director and backing musician for the spring and summer tour with the artist. I worked with these women for almost 6 hours a day for 5 to 6 days a week, any less, and was told by the artist, this is your life now, this is your job, even though I never received a cent for any of it. My health, safety, and mental peace of mind were continuously under attack while working for this artist. I and other women on tour were demeaned, demoralized, placed under ridiculous rules that often compromised our health. We were wrongfully blamed for missing money, often spent or lost by the artist in a drugged out haze at strip clubs and other venues. Sleep and food were only allowed around the artist's partying schedule. This partying included 4 to 5 choices of drugs, which were often slipped to unsuspecting females victims by the artist in order for him to take advantage of them. While I was in pain due to this loading injury, the artist said to me, I have pain pills as I have everything. I was then told to just take it and stop bitching and complaining. I felt pressure to take the 3 pills he gave me at the time. After taking the pain pills, I woke up numb, confused, and frightened 6 hours later as I stumbled around trying to regain my sight and balance. Chantel Nickenberg, who claimed Feldman was being inappropriate with underage girls. You can listen to her interview here. Amy Clark, former bandmate, I came across her now deleted tweet of physical abuse and subsequent suspended deleted Twitter account. Thanks to Corey Feldman for this nasty scratch you gave me while pushing me into a wall after screaming at me. Those are their stories, and I would be shocked if more women didn't come forward after this. The problem is that when women do come forward against Corey, he uses his celebrity and sad excuse of a fan base to publicly shame and bully them. They aren't doing this for money, as Corey is perpetually broke. Ain't that the truth? And if they wanted fame, they could have stayed in that living hell instead of fighting it. Corey Feldman is a degenerate addict, a sexual predator, and a full-blown rapist. Stop making excuses for him and start supporting these victims. This entire degenerate industry only pretends to be, I'm assuming, to be with its fake Me Too movement and sound bites. Give these women the airtime and respect they deserve. This is not the first time some of these stories were told, but I hope it finally reaches the people that need to hear it and can do something about it. I'm sure Corey will try to unleash hell on Me Too, and he's welcome to bring it. There is no way all these stories happen so aligned by all these women, including me. Thank you. Corey might have been abused, but now he is the abuser and it needs to end. And will someone please inform SAG that Corey Feldman has fucking zero right to be on their panel to address sexual harassment? There's the phone number, guys. 855-724-2387. Screenshot it. Exactly, Scott. Update. I have been contacted by a man that claimed to know the girl who I helped in the bathroom that night with Corey, and he said he had some sort of emotional breakdown and has since withdrawn from public life. When I checked for her Facebook, I received this message. She has also not been active on Twitter for the last 3 years. Because she has not consented to having her name released and she is clearly struggling with this, I blocked it out. I pray that you find peace, and if you need anything, girl, I'm always here for you. If you have any additional info to add, please contact me, Mindy Robinson, at AmericanAFMindy@yahoo.com, Twitter and Instagram, iHeartMindy, Facebook, .com iHeart Mindy page. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. He is a disgusting. Oh, she's really pretty. Well, that was a lot to take in. For sure. Yeah, I don't even know what to say, y'all. Courtney is supposed to be going live on Twitter to respond to all this. But hold on. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. She still hasn't said what time. Let's see if he said anything. Oh, I need to switch accounts. Duh, I'm blocked. Wouldn't you guys know? I'm blocked, damn it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nope, he hasn't said anything. He's just talking shit about Jackie yesterday. Let's see what it says in the open secret. Interesting that the open story is now calling him out. Exactly. She's just as bad as he is. Just as bad. She needs to be put in fucking jail too. Damn. This girl Mindy's got 217 followers. A lot of freaking comments under her article. Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of looking at this. Amen to that. I saw him try to have sex with a sick drunk girl in it and had to stop it. Imagine if I wasn't there. I've been telling the world he's a scumbag for years and no one cares or wants to do anything about it. Ain't that the fucking truth? Welcome to my last 2.5 years. Huh. Man. You guys can follow her on Twitter. Oh, she was already following me. Huh. At iHeartMindy. Wonder when she started following me. So, you guys can also read this article. So, you guys can also here. If I know what I'm doing correctly. You know, I'm a computer hacker, but I can't seem to freaking paste this. Thank you. Trying to. There we go. There we go. I was able to do it in Bobby's chat, but not my. Sorry, Bobby's old chat. It's always going to be his channel to me. Courtney is going to hit the Met pipe and get on Twitter. What a wonderful disaster. Yeah, and give the article more attention. So thank you, Michelle. That's what I was trying to post. But, you know, my hacking skills are kind of slow these days. Oh, sorry. I didn't know somebody was backstage. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Terry.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, this is pretty distressing to hear and read, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it's finally getting the attention it deserved. This is what we've been saying for 2.5 years. You know, this is what Bobby was trying to expose in his videos, and it just seemed like nobody really cared. So I'm glad that this lady, Mindy Robinson, finally wrote this article because it seems to be getting a lot of attention on Twitter.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have worked so hard, solidly. So fair play to you. But it feels like now, I think the first domino is really starting to drop.
It does
the
feel like
momentum.
that. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know
Fucking,
if you're on Twitter, but it's been all over Twitter like crazy.
I have, yeah. I don't know, did you see the interaction I had with Michael J. DeBarge?
No,
That was
I've
interesting.
been kind of busy, and that's why I didn't even get a chance all day to read this article. And then I just said, well,
Oh,
screw it,
right.
I'll go
Okay.
live. Why? What happened?
Well, basically, I kept calling him out because of him working with Corey Feldman, turning up to the sad premiere of the so-called My Truth shite, basically. And he basically, I brought in other people such as Stacey, Kim, Dick, other people. If you know, not in the beginning, we were interacting. You can go on my page and see the tweet. But he eventually admitted that he's not being paid a bean. He's doing this just to help Corey out, to try and get him on the straight and narrow, to be more professional. And I just basically said, you know, Michael, you come across as quite a solid fella, but you've put your bet on the absolute wrong horse here. You're gonna get stung and you're gonna get burnt by all of this, because mud sticks. It will come back and it will bite him on the arse, because association, especially in social media nowadays, it never goes away. It's
Right.
always there, and people
Yep.
don't like it. You know, Child USA, I called them out. I called out the single girl, the penthouse representative that was an ex-penthouse, blah, blah, blah. She's got a profile picture of her putting her legs up behind her ears. And she said it was a yoga pose. And it was like, yeah, but did you have to have semi-sheer opaque tights on? And she was doing this kind of triangle outlining her bits down below. And I said, I've attended yoga classes. I've never seen a yoga teacher tell us to point out our bits down below. Give me a fucking break here. The association of adult entertainment and protecting child sexual abuse victims is abhorrent. And if they can't see it, there's something very wrong with these people.
Yeah, there definitely is. And I don't know why Child USA still, chooses to support him. I do know that the SAG president made a tweet. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here in my screenshot.
Okay.
Shoot. Hold on, what happened to it? She made it. Sorry, where is it? Oh, okay. So the official SAG Twitter account said, "Hello, this is not a SAG-AFTRA sanctioned event. They will be using they are using the union's name without permission and have no role in developing this content. The union has slated a webinar for combating sexual harassment in the entertainment and media industry for mid-July." So yeah, they're using the SAG's name when they're not even involved.
See, this is it. This is why I keep using the hashtag grifter gonna grift. This is constant. This gaslighting, these inaccuracies, this bullshit scenario that he makes up each time he gets called out on something. And now calling in Courtney. What the fuck? She's got no credibility. She's his enabler.
Yeah.
Seriously. That's like asking Hitler to get Goebbels to give a fucking speech about human rights. Yeah? Really?
Yeah. And his fans are already attacking the girls. Here's her name is Dawn, and I believe this is the lady. I'm 99.9% sure she left her husband because of Corey Feldman. And she says, "I'm so disappointed in Jackie and Margot, especially since they befriended me and claimed they loved working with you, backstabbing bitches." So, I mean, his fans are already starting.
Have you not noticed that all his fans are broken people?
Oh, I know.
I don't want to attack anyone. Excuse me. That's why I had interaction with Michael DeBarge in a very polite but sometimes stringent manner. The bottom line is I'm not here to attack, demean anyone, because then I become him and I refuse to. But all of his victims, all the people taken in, they are fragile, broken people. And, the wolf pack, the irony is, he's the wolf. He sniffs out fragility like a wolf would sniff out a moose. He knows. He knows the signs. He knows the body language. And he goes in for the kill.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he does. I mean, I witnessed that myself, 20 years ago when I met him.
Right.
So, he's been doing this for many, many decades. And hopefully more people will be waking up to it now, because we've been screaming it from the rooftops. And
yes, you have. You've done an amazing job. All the guys, the foundation people, give yourself a pat on the back, because none of us would be here now if it wasn't for you guys drawing attention. I mean, I came through you guys.
We wouldn't be here without you guys either, without your support and everything. So thank you to everybody.
The excellent thing is it's getting stronger. And just a quick note on Parina Sadas. That girl has got more talent in her smallest atom in her body than that wanker has got. Seriously, that girl is so talented. I watch her on YouTube.
She really is. She's She's on a daily prayer group call right now, and if I'm still alive when she's done, she's going to join, but I don't know how much
Oh,
longer I'm going to be on here, but she could probably
okay.
join me for when Courtney goes live, because
It's
I'm going to
so
restream that.
frustrating. You watch his videos. Ugh, shit. I mean, they're great for relieving if you're feeling a bit fragile yourself. You think, God, I'm not that badly off in life. Seriously, I'm doing okay compared to this wombat. But her, I'm blown away by her talent. And for him to get her to make, you know, soppy fucking paper wings, and she's got all that musical talent, and you just think, this narcissistic, sociopathic, psychotic fool. So he's got to be brought. He has to be brought down. And you know what? The day that he is brought down, I want all the enablers to come on Twitter, come on YouTube, come on Instagram, justify yourself, justify putting him on his pedestal and propping that idiot up. You'll have no justification
Well, they
whatsoever.
scream there about victims. Well, these girls are victims. So, what about that? It's because you're in love with a child actor from the 80s that you're just, ignoring all these women and their claims. I mean, that makes you just as bad as he is, in my opinion.
But also the professionals out there, the so-called professionals. What's her name? Heather May. That odd-looking
Yeah.
creature. All these professionals. It's like Weinstein. He could only have done what he did. I'm furious about Weinstein that they didn't go after the hotel managers, the business centre managers, all these people that were giving him keys to women's rooms. They should have been
Mm-hmm.
prosecuted. And the same for
Yeah.
Corey Feldman. Any professional that sat there and knew what the hell was going on and was earning a buck, shame on you. How do you
Yep.
sleep at night? Do you not have daughters? Do you not have females in your family? What the hell? If we
Yeah.
can't protect one another, what the hell is this all about?
Exactly. Exactly.
I do get the feeling that it's all, the brand stuff is definitely hitting the fan. He's
Oh, yeah.
running out of ideas. What in God's name can she? I mean, you know that when and if she goes live, I've got a feeling she won't go live tonight. But if she does, it will be scripted. You know that he's going to be behind her, behind the camera, holding up signs, prompting her. I mean, I go back to that video where he did it with his son. His son was 10.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. The one they
Wasn't
deleted, but we have on Bobby's
my?
channel. Yep.
Do you? Good for
Yep.
you. That's the thing. That's what everyone needs to do out there that's listening. Save
I,
and screenshot everything, because this fucker's going to be going back. It's going to be like he's got so much backlog. He's tied himself in his own web. He's shut himself into his own cocoon and it's all made up of lies, lie after lie. He can't possibly remember all these lies, and this is why he's tripping himself up. What can Courtney Ann tell us? You're his enabler, you fool.
yep.
I mean, Dick Danger put on not too long ago on Twitter a photo of them in Jamaica, and she's got a ridiculous little star orange bikini on. But what arsehole idiot didn't realise is he was photographing all the promotional T-shirts at the back that said Hyde, Hyde, Hyde Resort, Jamaica. He hasn't. You know what? If you gifted him another brain cell, he wouldn't know to rub it together with the one he's got.
No, he's his worst enemy. That's for sure. Well, I think he's in a house now in Jamaica, like running an Airbnb. But
Of course he is.
no, there was
Fucking
a
idiot.
video that was put out by the paparazzi on the 15th that said they saw him at a restaurant in LA called
Nobu.
Nubu.
I saw
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
can't tell if
total.
that's really him or not.
Ah, that's interesting because he looked taller. I don't think it is him.
Yeah, and
He
his
looks
hair
much
was a
taller.
lot longer. So I don't know. I guess we'll see tonight where she's at if she does go live. But it's
Yeah.
just going to be a train wreck, you know, because she's just not good on camera. So,
Not without sitting next to him, holding on to him for dear life. And but the irony is that going back to that video where Zen, the child that he said he would never usher into the limelight, but I've seen a video of him attending one of the Jackson concerts a good while ago, because Zen must be 8 or 9, and he goes up to Randy Jackson, and Corey Feldman stops by the table where you get, the VIP passes, and he spends a lot of time there, probably talking bullshit, so that he can be photographed and seen. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? You're not going to put Zen in the limelight. You never took him out of it, you fucking
right.
idiot.
And then he puts him in his
Seriously.
documentary.
Unbelievable. But you can see back then, I don't know what he's got on Courtney, but she's giving him the look to the side, she's rolling her eyes. And I'm thinking, the more recent, the last sort of 2 to 3 years, she sits there like a little lamb. Oh, he's so right. He's my man. He's my husband. Yeah, because he was afraid. He even admitted, I'm afraid that Trump's going to send my Canadian girlfriend back. So that's why I'm
Yep.
marrying her. God, who
Yep.
said romance is dead? Oh,
I'm
honestly.
so glad that Darcy left too. I'm so glad that she got out of there.
Dear God, I can only imagine how trapped she must have felt. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't imagine the feeling. To be abused in any form is bad enough, but for it to be done through the fog of drug, the trauma that goes through your body and your mind for the rest of your life is going to be horrendous. You're going to get flashbacks. You're going to smell something and it will trigger something you're not quite sure. Is it the truth? Did it happen? Am I over imagining things? That trauma will kill someone. It will break you down. It really will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Despicable, despicable. And he's been very clever. He uses this pro anti-abuse, anti-sexual childhood abuse. It's like drug pushers opens a grocery shop and pushes these drugs at the back. It's like, who's going to think the man that gives me half a pound of apples is selling the kids heroin after school?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
So,
frustrating.
yeah, all
But
right. Well, thanks for joining me, Terry. I'm actually going to
no
jump off
bother.
of here. I'm getting updates about my uncle, so I need to respond to that. He's in ICU, so I need to
Oh,
respond
I'm
to those text
sorry.
messages. Oh, well, thank
I'm
you. He's in
sorry.
Illinois, so it's been kind of hard for me, but if she
I can
goes live and
imagine.
I'm still up, I'm going to restream it. So, look for the
Okay.
notification to pop up. But thank you
Yeah,
so much for coming on. Thank you for everybody in the chat. And
no
we'll
bother.
talk again soon. And let's get, justice for these ladies.
Absolutely. Let them know we're behind you. We won't give up. Don't worry about it. They've done the hard work. They're still here trying to fight. We're
Yep.
absolutely 100% behind you. Good luck with your uncle. I hope it all goes
All
well.
right. Thank you so much. Everybody have
No
a good
bother.
night. And hopefully I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.